seeing some of these local kids who've been through our pathway since they were 5, 6 years old, and now they're 12, 13, and they're racing bikes, and they are outstanding young athletes and in really good shape, and they got really good head on their shoulders. They're polite, they're courteous, and they got really great trail etiquette. That, to me, really is the most major standout.
Tell me about this place. Like, when you thought of the GravityMTB garage, it's one of my favorite places on the planet. I love being here. It's why we're here now. What thoughts went into it around coaching? You obviously have the fitness area, you have the suspension tuning area, then you have this like social area. Maybe walk me through your guys' decisions and putting this together.
Yeah. Something that we always wanted to do was to have a community hub for people to come, to hang out, to talk mountain bikes, to watch mountain bike videos or racing on the TV, because it's such a big part of our lives that we're just trying to share a little bit more. The gym is a huge component of mountain bike racing, and really in general mountain biking. You know, it's a lifestyle, it's not just a sport. So mountain biking being that lifestyle where it's better and more fun the more in shape you are, the more mobile you are, the more flexible you are, and you recover faster from your rides if you can take care of your body a little bit better and being smart with nutrition. So that gym aspect of it is a big component. The suspension service center, we feel suspension is the most important part of your bicycle, your mountain bike. And if it's not working properly or set up for your specific riding, then it's not going to feel good. It's going to feel terrible, and it's not going to work the way it should. If it's set up properly and it's set up for the rider that you are on a specific bike, it can turn a mountain bike into a magical machine that can take you on the best adventures you've ever had in your entire life. It can show you how far you can push yourself as an athlete or a weekend warrior for that matter. And sure, there's the downside of crashing and injuries, minor or major, but really like the positivity you get from it and the pleasure you get from mountain biking on a good day is almost as good as any powder day on a mountain. Yeah. So with the space here, another aspect is the youth and having the youth come in here. We have youth gym programs. So in the afternoons between 3 and 5 o'clock, we got kids coming in and they'll fill the chairs and the tables and the couch, and they're all sitting here watching World Cup. And we have guest coaches like Seth Sherlock, who was working with me on the weekend. They're watching him on the TV while sitting beside him at the same point. And they're just like, wow, really? That you're that guy? I can't believe it. And, you know, a young man like Seth Sherlock or Patrick Laffey, who are island kids from small towns, if they're able to compete at that world level, these young riders, you really look up to that. And, you know, they start to learn over time that it's possible for them to do it as well. And that's a huge thing. So having this community zone in here where kids are coming and going all the time, there's elite racers coming and going. You know, it's such an awesome place, and it's always a good time. It's always a good vibe in here. It's because we're trying to teach these kids good etiquette and to be really good human beings more than anything, and athletes. You know, the two go hand in hand so well, and that's why the mountain bike community, no matter where you are, is really strong and everybody's really supportive. You can go to any race and it doesn't matter if you're on a different team or not, everybody's going to help each other if you need help, whether it's a broken part on your bike, or if you need a pump, or if you're thirsty and need a bottle of water. There's always somebody that's going to help you, and no one's ever puts their nose up in the air and turns their back on you. Everybody's always super helpful. That's one of the best parts about the mountain biking community for sure. You know the term, like, if you build it, they will come? It's the same thing with these kids and them growing up to be these amazing athletes. If we have the amenities for them to practice and learn and try new things, then they're going to take full advantage of that and the kids are like sponges, right? And like I said, if one young rider is able to do a jump, a big 10-foot gap jump, and his 5 buddies are there, one of them is going to be like, oh, if you can do it, I can do it. So he does it, and then the next one's like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And then before you know it, you got these 5 kids hitting this 10-foot gap, and all of a sudden they're looking for something new to challenge themselves are. So if you can have the pump track in town, you got the dirt jumps in town, you got a skill center in the quarry in town, you got amazing trails, really this is a hotbed of these kids turning into world-class athletes. Just like somewhere like Whistler, where the mountains are absolutely spectacular, the best in North America. You know, the kids that are doing ski school there and the free ride programs are going to turn out to be some of the best athletes in the world.
Give me 2 scenarios when you first start teaching some young kid that's okay on the bike, and to see them progress, and like to see them now, what is that feeling like in you? Is it really rewarding? Is it exciting?
It's really exciting and rewarding in the same way. It's more rewarding to see how much these kids have grown and learned and progressed, versus rather than like feeling like patting myself on the back. I definitely don't feel like that at all, but seeing some of these local kids who've been through our pathway since they were 5, 6 years old, and now they're 12, 13, and they're racing bikes, and they are outstanding young athletes and in really good shape, and they got really good head on their shoulders. They're polite, they're courteous, and they got really great trail etiquette. That to me really is the most major standout.
We did the Dream Trail last year, and I remember sitting down with all these people, and at the end of the interviews I would ask them, like, what are you grateful for? And the amount of like thanks they had for you guys and you rock and the whole community around it was pretty special to hear. And I'm curious at how you think the coaching community that you're building here has contributed or drawn from the community here.
Yeah, that's a good question too. Is, you know, when we first started coaching in the Comox Alley, nobody else was doing it. There was other groups that have tried, but they didn't quite have maybe the background or the proper certification or the knowledge. So we really kind of filled a hole that was here in the Comox Valley, because there's mountain biking is everywhere here, and people do it from Comox to Corny to Cumberland, all up and down the island, but Cumberland is very central. So we were able to start coaching here 9 years ago, and to see these kids, like you said, these kids that we did the video with last year, you know, they think about 9 years ago where these kids were, and some of them weren't even born yet. But they've their brothers or sisters have been through our programs. We've done a great job with the community and keeping people involved as much as possible, and hosting events here in the garage and movie nights and stuff like this. Hosting kids races during Stokefest is huge. Really, it's come a long way, and we feel that it's just getting stronger. We're not growing, we're not trying to grow. We just want our program to get better each year a little bit here and there.
Take me through what that first conversation is like when you sit down with somebody that's interested in coaching in general, not specifically to Gravity.
Yeah. You know, that first initial kind of meet is a lot of questions, obviously. We're asking a lot of questions of people, and we're hoping those potential coaches will be asking us a lot of questions as well. You know, having certification is a huge part of that. There's different avenues how you can go about doing that. But really, the most important part for us is that kind of human connection, and being able to have a conversation or a chit chat with a mother, a father, a grandmother, a 4-year-old kid, and everybody in between, and have something in common where you can actually start a conversation and have that, you know, or that client to be comfortable in that scenario, and in the coaching, out in the field coaching, and knowing that they can feel safe and that they're going to be well taken care of. So really that personality side of thing is such a huge part of it, more than just the certification.
I taught snowboarding and skiing for a few years there in college and in Australia and New Zealand. And sometimes the funniest things are something you didn't expect. And there's some funny stories that I have about kids that just started off just hating snowboarding, and by the end you got them absolutely like first out, last in.
Yeah.
And I found that really rewarding. Have you got any stories or anything of anybody that's really kind of made an impression on you as a coach?
Wow. Man, there's been so many over the years. Yeah, absolutely. From being coaching, I first got certified in the year 2000 in Whistler, and I was coaching all sorts of different kids that are now World Cup racers, former world champions. And, I think that's my biggest kind of story is seeing how these kids really jump in with both feet. They're dedicated. They're searching for more knowledge to be smarter so they can become a better athlete. And it's not just about racing a bike. It's also about eating well, having good sleep patterns, knowing your bike, learning how to work on your bike on your own. There's so many different aspects to it, and seeing these kids grow up to be these amazing young adults and become mentors as well, and coaches too, which is, I think that's a huge thing, is seeing these successful athletes give back and be a mentor to some of these up and coming kids. And man, these up and coming kids just think they're really gods and will do anything for them, and the people that they look up to and see them on TV. And that's really special.
Building on what you said, there's the physical attributes, the physical stress and struggles that are pretty typical in lots of sports. And then there's that mental hurdle to take people from like the 80% to the top 10%. How would you describe the way you teach both the physical and the mental?
The physical and the mental side, it's not something we try and teach directly, if that makes sense. It's not we sit down at a table and we go head to head. It's a lot of things that happen in conversation, asking questions. I'm always asking the kids questions to get their answers for input, rather than me just telling them what they should and shouldn't be doing. To get to that 100% level, or that 100% athletic level where you can phase everything out and really focus on that run, there's a lot of experience that needs to happen before that. We do train younger riders that are nervous in a very simple group scenario versus world championships for their race run. But really it's all the same. It's so similar, the two things. It's just relativity is like, you have this group of 5 kids and they're all about the same age, but they're all nervous because they don't want to show off, or they think the other kids are better than them, so they hold back a bit, versus that 18-year-old who just got to the world championships and they're racing against kids the same age, in the same category, in a different venue, but really you're still racing your bike. With these kids in the groups, it's like you're still just a kid, part of a group. There's no standouts, everybody's equal. And it's to get to that world championship level is really challenging, and it takes a lot of time and dedication for sure.
So do you find that the support from other riders is equally or more important than the coaching itself?
It can be, depending on the situation. When you have a small group of peers that are riding together, they definitely feed off each other. And even with younger kids, is in those group scenarios, is if you got a group of 5-year-old kids, and once one young rider sees another rider doing a stunt or a feature, then they're like, oh, okay, I can do that. And then they go and do it, and then elation, the light bulbs are going off and the fireworks are going off, and then really that's when the progression starts. So yeah, they really do feed off each other as much as asking the questions, and really, like the whole peer. I find with mountain biking and mountain bike communities, everybody's very helpful and supportive, And even the kids that are quite young, is they're cheering each other on, and they're got their own cheerleaders. So that's, it's a really good feeling for these kids. And that's what we're trying to get is, we just want kids to have fun on bikes and have a good time.
Yeah.
Out there.
So coaching, there's obviously you're doing like the racing, the groms, like the people that are super keen, super into it. And then you get like a 39-year-old like me being like, hey, I played hockey for a long time, but I want to get into mountain biking. And what I found is that you guys are so welcoming with that. I rode with Britt for a few sessions, the one that went on that show in Whistler.
Oh yeah.
The Pink Bike Academy.
Yeah, Pink Bike Academy.
Yeah, so I was with her a couple times before that, and it was just, I think a lot of people don't understand how much benefit that can be.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people look at coaching and they say that's for racing. I'm not a racer, but they don't see what the benefits could be. Could you maybe walk me through some of your experience with the middle-aged folk, the later life folk that want to just get better at mountain biking through coaching?
Absolutely. We see it all the time. And, the evolution of mountain bike coaching has changed a lot in the last 20 years, 25 years. It wasn't really a thing. It slowly has grown into be a global product now where coaches are getting certified all over the place, and people are becoming better mountain bikers, which means people are crashing less, less injuries, and they're healthier for it because there's really no place better than being out in the forest on your bike or going on an adventure, or even like just going bike touring. With someone that's middle-aged, most people learn how to ride a bike at a very young age, at 3 or 4 years old. Their parents get them on the road and shove them down the street and say, pedal, pedal, pedal. And that's how you learn how to ride a bike. And that's as far as anybody ever gets with a lesson or being taught how to ride a bike. So I think about skiing and snowboarding, where you throw skis or snowboard on for the first time on snow, and if you've never done it, and you stand up and you're out of control and you crash, and the first thing you say is like, oh God, I need a lesson. Mountain bikers don't generally do that until they have their first lesson, and then their mind is blown and they're like, oh my God, set me up. Let's do a whole bunch more of these, and I want to get better, and I can feel the progression happening already. That's the biggest takeaway for me, is like the people that learn how to ride a bike as a kid and they don't feel like they need to learn anything, when really it's such a skillful sport that you can learn certain skills that will really stop you from crashing as much. Crashing hurts. Crashing on snow versus crashing on dirt is two totally different things. Mountain biking hurts sometimes.
Yeah.
If you want to become a better mountain biker, the best thing you can do, honestly, is to take a lesson or to take 3 lessons. And don't worry about trying to buy performance by getting a Kashima fork or shock or a Super Duper carbon fiber bike or something that's really expensive, or like the fastest shoes you can get or whatever. Really take a mountain bike lesson, and that can really change your life in 2 hours. Also change your kind of outlook on mountain biking and how far you want to take it. But really is taking a lesson is probably the best thing you can do, hands down, to become a better mountain biker. Different venues for coaching can really make a big difference on progression, for sure. And depending on what your focus is with your mountain bike lessons. If you're learning how to jump, riding at a bike park, a lift access bike park, is definitely a bonus, because you can take the chairlift up and you can ride down and save your energy for the actual descending versus the climbing as well. But if say you're in Cumberland where there's no lift and you're on trail access, then when you're taking that lesson is what we'll do is we'll go to specific trails that we can cycle up and down, and to practice and really hone in those skills before doing a top to bottom lap. Where a bike park, you can ride top to bottom, and like you said, hit the same jump basically 15 times in a row, because it's just been duplicated all the way down the hill. But the difference between the bike park versus the trails is, with the bike park, some places do have like a practice or training zone where you can go hit some jumps first, push your bike back up, hit 3 or 4, try and get comfortable, rather than going sailing straight into a blue flow trail that's got 20-foot tables in it. So really, like a big part is stop, look at the jumps, okay, analyze it, figure out how fast you need to go, how steep the lip is, what the landing's like, and then being able to kind of like do that equation in your head before actually trying it for the first time, rather than just kind of going for it and not sure what's going to happen. You just kind of go for it, and sometimes it doesn't work out the way you want, and you end up having some gravel in your elbows, with just the way it goes. But really, like depending on what your focus is with your lesson, different areas, different venues is a big part of it. And the more knowledge that we have of what the client wants to do, then it's easy for us to pick that right venue and make sure they're getting the absolute most value out of that 2-hour lesson.
To get somebody excited about mountain biking again, I think in 2020, there was a lot of people that bought mountain bikes and with the intent of like, hey, that looks cool, good exercise. So they got out, crashed once, and that bike has been collecting dust ever since. Like, what would you say to get those people excited again and to get back on the horse?
Yeah, that is also something else that is quite common for us. Is we get the story of like, oh, I got this bike, amazing bike, I bought it 7-8 years ago. I rode it for a little while, and then life got in the way, and I haven't touched it since. It's just been collecting dust. So they come to us for a lesson, because I think that knowledge is out there in the world now that you can actually take a mountain bike lesson, and it's going to make things easier, and you're going to build confidence and have more fun and enjoy it rather than just being scared. There's a lot of people's friends are out mountain biking, but they're not quite there yet. So they want to be able to go mountain biking with their friends, and they take a lesson, and then like within 2 hours, they're like, okay, I understand what's going on. This all makes sense to me. I know that in like 2 or 3 lessons, I'll be able to ride with my crew and have a blast and have fun with them. And I think that's a really, really big part of it. To get people excited on mountain biking is small incremental steps to becoming better make a huge difference. If they have a small goal in their head and you can help them achieve that goal, really that sets the hook in there, and they are going to keep riding for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely. I think that's good comments. I remember when I was trying to get into it, like early 20s, I felt like one of the biggest hurdles I had was like not having the knowledge to take care of my bike, which never gave me the confidence in my bike.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to somebody that doesn't know anything about their bike's collecting dust, and it's been on the hook in the garage for 2 years now, so they're not even sure if it's safe to ride. They don't know if it's like milk. Yeah, it's like, does it go bad after like 2 years?
Yeah.
What would you advise? I assume would be get it tuned, get it looked at.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What would you
First
recommend?
thing is when the bike comes out of the garage, is take it to any sort of bike shop, and have them do a safety bike check on it and give it a tune up. That alone is a huge thing. The sound of your bike, if it's loose and things are clackety clack and rattling around, that is not confidence inspiring. So a quiet bike is usually a fast bike and something that you can rely on versus a bike that's loud. Really servicing your bike often or when recommended is really, really important, because things do deteriorate over time, which can really elevate the dangerous side of mountain biking as well.